Hello everybody! So today, in celebration of 30 subscribers, thank you guys so much, I am going to be demonstrating some concept openings. Not openings you should actually play, although at some rating levels these may work. I am simply just going to be demonstrating a couple concepts. So without further ado, let's get right into this, and thank you guys so much for 34 subscribers. Alright everybody, so we're going to be going over some of the less recommended openings, unless you're about 800. So we're going to start off with the Tennyson Gambit. If you know this, you can probably just skip past this part in the video. I'm sure I'll have timestamps in the description below. Now, we are going to open e5, Scandinavian defense, of course, knight of 3, and once he takes, it's knight g5. Now, he'll play knight f6, and we're going to play d3, offering a true gambit. So once he retakes, we are going to be retaking with the bishop. So now, if he plays h6, trying to kick away our knight, surprise, we are going to be forcing his king away from there with a fork. And then after bishop to g6, which actually forces him to not be defending the queen anymore with his king, and it's also discovered in attack, we can finally pick up this nice little queen here. We're probably going to pick up into this bishop or this pawn here, and we're going to have a very nice time. So you have to remember this idea of sacrificing the knight to get this sort of position here. Now let's say that you're looking for something a little more positional. d4, d5, e5, that's the advanced variation. Now, he'll generally play bishop f5. By the way, this is exactly what Grandmasters Mikhail Tal and Mikhail Blavinik played against each other. And yes, Mikhail Blavinik, who was playing black, did win that game. But you gotta remember, they were both world champions. So h4, and the main idea in the Caro-Kann is e6. Now this will work especially well in blitz, because a lot of people are not expecting the Tal variation. Now after g4, something like h5, then here, and we have trapped the bishop entirely. The bishop will have to sacrifice itself for a pawn. That's called desperado, which is another idea that you have to keep in mind. And so now we have all our pawns out, we have knight out, we have one material, and you're probably going to be winning this game very easily. Now, I do have another opening in the Caro-Kann that, yes, I've already covered, but I'm not going to be showing the line that I like to play. I'm going to be showing a more typical line. Now, this is the Von Hennig Gambit. I do recommend you play this, actually, because even 2600s can fall into this trap. I've actually gotten 2600 for money to fall into this. Now, the trap generally here is to break this pin, sacrifice the queen, and get mate in one. But instead, there's another thing you can do here, which is actually the best move. Bishop takes f7. Right? Not a brilliant move. And then you're raking this pin with a check. And because of that, you are going to be picking up this bishop. And now he's lost his castling rights, and you're going to have a very, very nice game. It's already +2. Look at that. And I just showed the most common lines. So you have to remember that you can sacrifice the bishop on f7 to get a fork. That'll pick up some material. And you can actually combine these ideas. Now, there's a very common idea in the Scotch game here. Sorry, Scotch Gambit, I guess, but whatever. Once this happens, this will generally be a thing. Hacksaw Gambit. Right, and that's not so horrible. And so after c3, which is incredibly common, then generally they will be taking this. And watch the evaluation shoot up slightly. That's because after we take this pawn, remember this bishop sacrifices in almost every opening I play. King takes, you're winning back material through a fork. And this time, if he plays king to e8, you can actually play queen to h5 for g6, and you'll have something like this. So just remember, you always have to be watching out for that bishop sacrifice. Now, we are going to be playing something a lot more known. This is the fried liver. Right, and of course, if this happens, then we just have this fork, and it's absolutely winning, so only move is actually d5. Right, and so generally, after recapture, this sacrifice, yes, it's also sacrificing knight on f7. That's another thing you can do. And then, queen f3, this, sack the queen, boom, checkmate. After this, right? Instead of playing the best move as black, we're actually going to flip the board around here. We're going to play here. The tracks or counterattack. And now, notice that actually bishop takes is a more common move now. Because now, we're going to sacrifice this bishop on f2. Takes here, if he decides to go back to e1, then we have this nice little queen check here. It's -5 or whatever. And so here we have this knight sack here, very, very nice. And if he takes the knight, we are just going to be picking up everything he owns. Look at this. Here's perhaps something like here, because, you know, if this happens, then we have knight d4, all that. And it's just a very, very nice little opening here. It's -7, look at that. You can actually get this about 60% of the time, I think. I'm not entirely sure. Regardless, there are a lot of things you can do. And this is further exemplified in the opening that I like to call the improved Traxler, which is the Bush-Goss Gambit. So now if he takes, which is actually the best move, you can play here, attacking this, and generally he will counterattack. Bishop c4. And you're just going to allow this fork. You're going to allow him to fork you. Now, if he does take with the bishop, what do you do? So most people actually bonk the king here. Don't. Instead, go here. Now, say he'll probably try to trade here. And then you will often have... So once again, this bishop sacrifice idea is actually up here right now. And so a lot of people will actually tuck the king instead. They'll avoid taking. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the move order. So if here, and then this happens, Now this will generally happen because, oh, bishop g4 and the queen is trapped. Right? And now if your opponent is a little less cautious, they'll take the knight, that's the best move. You still have this sacrifice idea, and it's not even brilliant, it's just the best move. Actually had a game exactly like this. He played here. I went here, he went straight back. I played d5, he took. I went here, sacrificing the knight by disconnecting everything. And when he took back, I just went here and take the queen. I went here, he went here, and that was mate. Which leads me to another idea. That is that if a square is defended, you've got to look at how it's defended. What are his moves? And so if you can force the queen to capture, then you're going to be winning it. And this idea is a lot more common than you might imagine. I'm not just saying shit here. Go back. This is actually another opening as black. Now if he plays here, we have the Anglin Gambit. If he takes, boom, he defends. Boom, he defends again. Triple fork. He moves, he gets the bishop back, we take here, and of course if he blocks, looks like this, then we have the bishop b4 idea. Everybody's seen this bullshit before. And here, boom, he's checkmated. That's fine. But if instead knight c3, which is actually the best move, we'll go here. And then if he attacks the rook, which is actually very common, then look, it's his only move. The king is surrounded by the homies. And now the queen is forced to capture. And we've won a queen already. Look at that. This happens a fair amount of the time, especially in Blitz. And so because of that, just always look out for what your opponent's legal moves are after a check, especially when there's a queen that's defending against a knight and a queen, because that is going to be the most common idea with this thing. Now let's go back. Now, this is not exactly a sound concept, but this is all about relative value. Now, Magnus Carlsen actually played this against Grandmasters, as did a Grandmaster who was accused of cheating, named Visu. A lot of people believe he didn't. I'm personally one of those people. But it shows how. I'm sorry. What am I doing? This is wrong. It's this first. It's this first. Because then here, and we have this bishop out, and this is going to be staring down this diagonal for the rest of the game. And so there's something like b3 with the idea of this. Say he doesn't find that, he plays, I don't know, here or something. And then even though you're down material and down positionally, really you've lost everything, a lot of the times you can actually convert. Now, there's going to be a link in the description to another video covering Magnus Carlsen's 11 wins with this. I believe it was 11. You can watch for yourself, but relative value. This is actually very important. Alright, now as you can see here, we are on a new setup. But we're going to actually turn off this analysis here. So even though it is theoretically drawn, as you can see right here, all 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, then we are going to actually have quite a few lines under this. Now, say that white played a natural move like getting this knight out here, and black decides to target it. That's going to be a skewer. We're going to win. So basically, we have ideas of a lot of really odd forks all the time, or even pins. And yes, that is going to end up being a draw, but still, there are just a lot of really, really weird ideas you can do here, and so some people actually prefer having the knight and the rook against the queen because of the possibility of outplaying it is actually very good at the beginner levels. Although, be aware, not always will you find such success with this, because black can generally force a draw or even skewer you and actually start winning. But seriously, remember relative value, because a knight and a rook are often going to be more valuable than the queen, despite being actually 8 points together versus 9. And it's actually for this reason that, embarrassingly, I thought the queen was worth 7 points until I turned 8 and realized that's stupid. And so this is how a lot of these concepts can be demonstrated. Now, I know this last one isn't technically opening, but I did want to explain this in the video because it's very important, because a lot of newbies are very, very defensive of the queen, would not want to give her up for anything, even if it's 2 rooks and a knight, which is honestly kind of ridiculous. I mean, now with 2 rooks, it's actually winning. Right? I should actually cover that too. Alright, so the idea of this position is simply to check with the rook to force the king over, to get this little pin here with the queen, and now you have a lone rook against a lone king, and you should be doing very well. And because of that, I will generally prefer 2 rooks over a queen, as should you. And so if you find yourself presented with the opportunity to give yourself 2 rooks in the face of a queen, then you should be doing rather all right. Now, that will be the conclusion of this video. Hopefully you have enjoyed. I must say thank you all for watching, and thank you so much for 30 subscribers. Now, it has been very, very nice. Goodbye. And I will see you all next time. As always, this has been Blundered Games. Goodbye.